There's no Italian table that's complete without pasta. So if you're not a carb person, where we have bread, soup, and pasta, and next we're doing cookies, this might be the part where you want to go get a snack, because we're making pasta. Okay, everybody makes pasta with huge rolling pots of water, right? These big pasta pots that we buy, and then you cook 3 penne in it. Wrong. What you want to do is take a smaller pot, right? And you want to season it to be like seawater. Settle down. Pasta has no flavor. You really season your water to season your pasta. So you keep your water at a high boil, season it with salt, and now we're going to take fingerling potatoes. And I really like fingerlings for this because they're lower in sugar because they're not so big. They're lower in water. And they're going to give us a nice creaminess to our pasta. So we're just going to keep this like this, a few potatoes. And they're going to go right into your salted boiling water, followed by your pasta. And you want your pasta to be seen in the water, right? So if you take a look at this, it's not floating around in a great big ocean of pasta water. You don't want that. You want your pasta to taste like, pasta, not water. So it'll come back to the boil. While it cooks, we're going to make pesto, a nice, simple basil pesto. So into the food processor will go some garlic. We're just going to tip the ends off the garlic and smash it. And in that smashing process, please don't take out all of your aggressions of the day on your little garlic. You just do it to loosen the skin. I know we have all these gadgets now that take the peel off the garlic. I'm going to let you see that again. This is how hard it is and why you don't need gadgets. Skin peels right off. So the garlic's going to get smashed a little bit more so that the food processor doesn't have to work so hard. I got to tell you, at home, I do my pesto by hand. I chop everything, the nuts, the garlic, the basil, into a coarse paste. I don't like a really creamy pesto, but since people use food processors more than they chop things for a half hour, we're doing it this way. I'm using walnuts instead of really expensive pine nuts, but you may choose to use pine nuts. Some white miso, again, for that nice cheesy flavor. And now we'll get the seasonings for our pesto. So we have garlic, we have nuts, we have miso. Generous amount of olive oil. Pesto is meant to be rich. Pesto means paste. So you want this to be creamy and richly flavored. A little bit of red wine vinegar is just going to take the edge off the oil and also allow you to digest it with that little bit of acidity. And this is me. I put a tiny bit of brown rice syrup, which is a natural sweetener made from brown rice that's fermented, and it just gives everything a little sweetness. I don't know. I like a little sweetness. So you may opt out if you like. Take the stems off your basil, and then I hand tear my leaves. You do this just so that the food processor doesn't have to work so hard and you don't end up with a pesto that is really, really sort of creamy. I like mine to be a little more textured. Now the top goes on, and now the most challenging part of using a food processor for me, getting it to work. And some days I'm luckier than others. So you just want to do this until you can see all of the basils broken up, but don't get crazy. I really don't like a pesto that is so soft. Now you're going to go back here and you're going to taste your pasta for doneness. Pasta takes about 7 minutes. I know packages say 9, 12, 11. What you want to do is go in and taste your pasta. If it still has too much tooth, then you let it cook for a minute or two more, but you start tasting it at 7 minutes. Needs a little more. So now we get the greens ready while the pasta continues to cook. When you cook your pasta al dente, which is the way Italians cook it, and what allows Italians to eat pasta all day long and look like Sophia Loren, is that they cook it undercooked. So it doesn't become an insulin trigger. So you don't go from pasta to pizza to bread to the baked potato to the macaroni and cheese to the cookie. You eat a little serving of pasta. You have the fiber of the pasta still, And so you're easily satiated by eating a small amount. So that's how they do it. So what we'll do is just tip off the ends of the kale. You may use any green you like. Broccoli rabe, escarole. But I like this lacinato kale or dinosaur kale because it's a little heartier and it's going to go into the boiling water with the pasta. So it's got to kind of hold up. Some people use green beans in this dish as well for the green, but green beans are on what my family likes to call the master list of things that I don't truly adore to eat. So use green beans if you like. So you want to cut the kale into sort of bite-sized pieces, and it's going to go right in with our boiling pasta. Okay? Easy. Now, serving bowl. You want to use a spider or some kind of slotted spoon to take the pasta, the greens, and the potatoes out of the water. You want some of the water. And you want it because the pesto will naturally become a little more thinned if you serve it this way. So as soon as your kale has wilted, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, right? And kale is one of those, we call them superfoods, but it's not really that to me. If it's a plant-based food and it's whole and unprocessed, it's pretty super. But kale has had a great PR run, and it's loaded with calcium, fiber, vitamin C, anything you could possibly want, even protein you can get in kale. So once you have all your pasta and potatoes out, now you're going to take your pesto. You can either try to hold the blade in place with your finger under the bottom, or you can be a really smart person and take the blade out. And we're going to take the pesto and just dollop it right on top and stir it in, and you'll create this rich pesto-covered pasta, potato, and greens main course that, in my opinion, beats just about every pasta dish I've ever had. And there it is. Pasta perfection.